Hey, welcome back, friends. First video of 2024. Guys, we took a few weeks off for Christmas and New Year's to just spend time with family and have a little downtime, and it was great. I hope yours was as well. So today's video, we're going to talk about RV upgrades that, in our opinion, aren't upgrades at all. Matter of fact, there's one or two that I would not want on my rig. And yeah, the RV manufacturers do this to try to keep up with the latest, greatest. You know, their competition are putting some of these things on their units, and so they feel pressure to put that same thing on their unit. And there's just some things we are not big fans of. We've got 5 of them today, and they've got 2 at the end that are asterisks that we think could be good ideas, but it takes some work. They need to work on how they utilize them. So anyway, 5 plus 2 asterisks, RV upgrades that aren't necessarily upgrades. Hope you stick around.
Today's video is brought to you by rvmattress.com, a Brooklyn bedding brand.
So our family has enjoyed RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding's mattresses for over a year now. We love them, and we're confident you will as well.
This particular model is called the Dream Foam Essential, which just won Good Housekeeping's 2023 Family Travel Award for having a big variety of sizes without sacrificing comfort, making it the perfect mattress on the road.
With your RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding, you get a 120-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty.
For our family, the RV is our place to recharge for the next day. So a comfortable night's rest is important, not just for mom and dad, but for the kids too. Thank you, RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding, for sponsoring today's video.
So head over to rvmattress.com/wondering and use our code WONDERING to get 25% off your next mattress.
Now let's hop back into today's video.
All right, let me start by saying that Brooke and I have discussed this list, and we both agree. You guys don't see Brooke on the channel much because she has her own thing. She has her own full-time job, and yeah, she's got her things she has to do. But I also think it's very important that she throws her input, her opinions in on a list like this, because to have the female's side of things, the mom side of things, the wife's side of things, you know, they have different flavors sometimes. They have different opinions. And so, yeah, Brooke has confirmed these and even added, I think, 1 or 2. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing, I think we have as YouTubers who have been around for a little while now, I think we have a kind of a unique perspective. We've been in 7 or 8 rigs at this point. We're in contact with manufacturers, and we're also in contact with many of you. So we've seen thousands of comments sometimes on some of these things, hundreds of messages that we've received on some of these. So here's the thing, just because we have a unique perspective does not mean we have the correct one. Everything at the end is just our opinion, right? So what would be a huge help, you guys hop down in the comment section and agree with us. Let us know if you agree with us or disagree with us. You know, be polite if you don't mind, but disagree with us. The first one I'm going to talk about, I know a lot of people is probably going to disagree with, but it also comes from that unique perspective. Let's hop into that first one. The first upgrade, all right, I'm going to do this a lot in this video, I guess, but the first upgrade that I've noticed going across the board, specifically now in travel trailers more than anything, is auto level. Sounds great, right? You one-touch auto level. Just show up to the campsite, boom, and within a minute or 2, you're all leveled out. Here's the deal. After seeing, I've gotten lots of messages, I've seen tons of comments all over social media, and it could be one of those things that social media blows up. That's where your help. Drop down in the comment section if you love your auto level and it's been great for you. Let us know. But yeah, I've seen so many issues pop up with these things, and a lot of times you have at least 4 levelers. You've got, plus a lot of times the front tongue jack is a leveler, and so that's 5. And now we've got all of those systems, 4 motors, 5 motors, all those connections, the sensors, the boards, everything that lets the unit know that it's level or unlevel. And then sometimes you show up to the site, and ironically, your site is so unlevel that your auto level can't work. It's too unlevel to level. That's what your auto level will tell you. And so for us as a family, what we found is manually leveling your unit is not that tough. You know, it's not that big a deal, and especially if you've got somebody to help. But even if you don't have somebody to help, there's apps out there, sensors, and all of that stuff you can place inside your rig. It's really not that big a deal, and that's why I find that paying thousands of extra to have auto level on a unit, to me, it's just not an upgrade. It's more of a hassle. Okay, let's keep going into the next upgrade. There I go again with my air quotes. And I love that the next one, Chad over at Changing Lanes just did a great video on comparing what I'm about to talk about. I will link that video in the description box below. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you've probably watched Chad and Tara over at Changing Lanes anyway. You might have already seen that. But I agree with them completely. Tankless water heaters. We have had now, I guess, 4 or 5 units. If you don't know, if you don't follow the channel, we receive prototypes from time to time from Grand Design RV to test camp, basically. Give feedback about, and yeah, we love doing it. It's fun. It gives us content. It gives us a different experience. But during all of that, some of these upgrades is tankless water heaters. And we have our original unit still, our 2017 2800 BH Grand Design Imagine. It sits at a permanent site up in the mountains. It has an old school gas electric water heater. We have never had to use even the gas part of that water heater. So our water has always been free, basically, because when you go to a campsite, you're pretty much already prepaying for the electric, or you can consider it free, complimentary, whatever you want to do. But yeah, we get hot water without using our propane. You can't do that with tankless water heaters. They're just not there yet. I don't think there's any such thing as an electric tankless water heater. And if there is, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be working very well at this point. Maybe there is. Correct me in the comment section. But we miss the free water. You also got to have enough pressure for those things to work. Those have pressure switches, so if they flow switches. So if there's not enough flow, you know, a lot of campgrounds have low flow, low pressure. If there's not enough flow going through that tankless water heater, I think that's something, I'm not sure Chad talked about that in that video, but it won't even come on. So then you got to add water to your tank. You got to hope your pump provides enough flow from your freshwater tank. You're hooked up to water, you just don't have enough pressure. And so you put water in your tank, you turn your pump on, you hope your pump gives enough pressure or flow, and then see if it works. Sometimes it's working, and for some reason the flow slows down, and it turns off mid-shower. That sucks. And so we just have not had a good experience with the tankless water heaters. Now, in theory, what a lot of people think of is, wow, if I'm hooked up to full hookups, and I'm on full hookups, I've got an unlimited shower I can take. And when it's working correctly, that is true, and it is awesome. I will tell you that. But more often than not, flow is a problem. You're going to pay dearly for that long shower because you're using up all your propane. And for us, it's just a downgrade versus an upgrade. We prefer the old school tanked gas electric. Okay, number 3, and this is something I have seen over the last couple of years as I've gone to shows. If you don't follow the channel, a lot of times I'll go to Tampa. I'm going to Tampa here in a week or two. I go to Hershey. I've been there the last several years, and I've walked through a ton of units. And one thing I've noticed, everyone's going to interior LEDs. Makes sense, right? You got LED lights, takes less draw from the battery. You can use them more than you would the old incandescent lights. And yeah, it does make sense for camping. It's great for camping. I think LEDs have huge potential for RVs. They seem to work together well. Here's the problem. Manufacturers aren't paying close enough attention to the color of these LEDs. So you walk into a unit, you can't really tell it at the show because the show is almost always in the daytime. But if you walk into these units at night, you'll notice there's different colors of LEDs. And this is something that drives Brooke crazy. She deals with lighting from time to time in her work. And so, you know, the Kelvin over here are 3000 and over here the 5800, and it doesn't blend well. It looks like a spaceship almost inside these units. I'll pick on Grand Design a little bit. You know, the new Imagines have these new strips of LED lights, and then they also have puck lights. Well, these are different manufacturers that they get these parts from, and so the shades of LED lights don't match up, and it looks weird. It doesn't look right at night. It looks awkward. And so now on the flip side of that, some manufacturers, Brinkley's a good example, they've done a wonderful job of matching up the colors of their LED lights. We like a warmer light, and fortunately LED's advancing and you can get warmer LEDs now. But I think that manufacturers need to pay attention and make sure all of their lighting is matching inside these units. Right now, a lot of times they're not. All right, next on the list, and this one's going to maybe cause some controversy. Hop down in the comments, tell me if I'm wrong or agree with me, whatever. But in our experience, having experienced different units, 12-volt fridges. So we've had one unit that the 12-volt fridge just never worked. It barely got cold on the bottom of the freezer. That we just had to bring a cooler in that instance. We've had other units that would get way too cold. So, I think you have an option, I don't remember, it's like 1 to 5, 5 being the coldest. So generally when we get home, we bump it all the way to 5, and then once it gets cold, we'll bump it back to 4 or even 3. Well, man, I mean, even in those settings, it'll frost up a Coke, like a Coke Zero or something like that. You open it up and it just turns into a slushy, which I'm kind of a fan of. But at the same time, when you open up your salad kit and it's all frosted up, or you're trying to get out those burgers or that chicken to cook and it's frozen, we just haven't had a great experience with the 12-volt fridges. They seem to be a little bit inconsistent still. Now, on the flip side, again, our old unit that sits up in the mountains, it's got the old gas electric again. And so we've never had that problem with that unit. The old absorption fridge, it just works, and it has worked and worked and worked. And so, yeah, 12-volt fridges, I'm not sure it's an upgrade. I know everyone's going to it, and I think it's correct to probably go in that direction, but I'm just not sure it's an upgrade at this point. It wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, but again, I'm not sure it's an upgrade. All right, number 5, and this one I'm very adamant about, and that is touchscreen anything. Touchscreen anything in a unit seems to be just a big mess. When it works, it's great, but when it doesn't, nothing works. And so I see these, again, I go into these units more and more to these shows, and the screens get bigger. They started out with touchscreen like this, and then bigger and bigger. Now they got almost looking like a TV in some of these units. That's your touchscreen for everything. And I like switches. I like old school switches. Switches they last forever. If they do screw up, you just pop one out, wire up another one, and slam it back in there. You don't have to worry about screens and we seem to be complicating these units. I mean, I feel strongly about that. I need to do a video about how we're overcomplicating these RVs, and we're just buying into this whole upgrade everything just to try to have a unit that's going to suck somebody in that's got a 5-year-old unit. That's what they're doing. You got a 5-year-old unit. Oh, now they got this, and this, so we need to go buy another RV. I think we're complicating it too much, and touch screens or something I would just take out of everything. It's cool if it can hook to your phone. I do like Compass Connect. I will say that. And we're no longer Lippert ambassadors, by the way, so we have no connection to Lippert whatsoever now. I dissolved that relationship last year. I'll talk about that maybe in another video. But I do like their Compass Connect in the Imagine units because it has switches. So when you walk up to it, you can still use the manual switches. I wish they were more old school switches maybe, but they still have buttons you can actually push. They're actually buttons you can push. It's not a touch screen. And if it's working correctly, you can work it from your phone. So that's well and good. But if Bluetooth messes up or something happens with the screen, these full touch screens, I'm just not a big fan of, and I see a lot of people having issues with them. Okay, those are our 5 upgrades that in reality really are not upgrades in our opinion. Here's a couple of options or upgrades that have asterisks by them. We have a love-hate with these. The first one's very minute. It's something small, but motion sensor lighting. So Grand Design Imagine started putting motion sensor lighting on the floor, in specific areas. So if you got out of bed at night and it picked up your feet, it lit up the floor for you. Well, we found in actual use, we hate these things. And so, we're just praying that us moving around in bed doesn't set it off. So a couple of things here. One, I think Grand Design is actually ditching these completely in the Imagine line. I'm not real sure about that, but I've asked them, hey, either one, ditch them completely. We don't really need them. Or 2, put them only in the bathrooms. Maybe only in the bathrooms, only in the kitchen. Do not put them in the bedrooms. So if or have a switch on all of them. That's obviously, that'll work. If you have one of these units or looking at one of these units, obviously you can fix it with a piece of tape. But in my opinion, it's just something I would rather have an extra charger or something like that, extra USB charger sitting around instead of you wasting that outlet on one of those silly motion sensors. Okay, one more asterisk, and this will be something that a lot of people will have strong feelings about too. And we're on the fence. I will say the more we use these steps, the more we want to revert back to the old school steps, and that is either Lippert. I think Lippert has a solid step and Morride has the step above. I think that's the name brands, but you know what I'm talking about, the ones that fold down. And we have a love-hate with these. One, when you're actually at the campsite, you're using them, they're awesome. They're solid as a rock. They feel like steps you'd have in a residential home. Like, they're great. Love them. But when you're leveling, when you're setting up camp, when you're breaking down camp, if it rains, all of these are situations where these things are a pain in the butt. So, you know, you can imagine wet steps. You can try to get out there and you can try to pat them off. And the old school steps, you just throw them under the door and you leave. You didn't have to open the door to put them down. Or, you know, a lot of times when we get to the campsite, Brooke wants to go in and go ahead and get the AC going. Well, I got to wait till I'm level, and I got to, you know, can't do that yet. You know, either that or I lock her in there and she's in there without the slides slid out and all that stuff. So be wary that just because they've put these step above or Lippert solid steps or MORryde step above on your unit, be wary. Sometimes they're a pain in the butt. And the old school steps, make sure they're aluminum. The old school aluminum steps that just fold under, those have been great. Now, I know Torque Lift makes a nice little accordion type steps. We have not experienced those. I'm sure those are pretty cool. A lot of people say good things about them. But as far as the MORryde or the Lippert steps that fold into your unit, we're kind of on the fence about those. We're kind of leaning more towards the old school flip out steps. All right, guys, there you go. There is some of our upgrades, one last time, upgrades that we think are not really upgrades and sometimes even downgrades. So, you know, if you're out there shopping and you're looking at units, take a second look at some of these things. Ask the questions. You know, you're going to be dealing with a salesman. They're going to tell you what they think you want to hear. But take it from us. We've experienced several different units. We've been doing this for a little while now. And yeah, just be wary of them. It's something to think about. You know, hopefully this video is part of your research. And so go watch some other videos, get some other people's opinions. We're just, you know, just because we have a unique experience doesn't mean we're right. And so hopefully this video will help you form your own opinion. Guys, I hope you're doing great out there. We're over 70 some odd thousand subscribers at this point. Every single video, I try to remind myself, hey, you need to show that you're grateful for that. So thank you. We really do appreciate it. We really are grateful. Hope you're doing good out there. Hope you're staying safe. See ya.